To forgive is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. All the rest must be forgotten. Forgiveness is a selective remembering, based not on your selection. For the shadow figures you would make immortal are enemies of reality. We spoke about special relationship yesterday. Specialness sees only shadow figures of the past memories. It's never the other that is wrong. It's you who brought your thoughts, the perceiver. You're not wrong either, but you're misperceived. So the correction needs to happen in your own mind. Nothing is interpersonal. If two agree that one is sick, that's a sick alliance. That is joining in specialness. But if one agrees that he's the Christ, the other one is the Christ with him. So this is the mystical path. Focusing on our own mind only, going within. Focusing on what we think of others and release those thoughts. Because these are the shadow figures of the past. Be willing to forgive the Son of God for what he did not do. The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate he did what he did not. The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate he did what he did not. The shadow figures are the witnesses to your mind to demonstrate he did what he did not. Where can forgiveness happen? Only in our own mind. And because you bring these witnesses, these shadow figures from the past, you will hear them. Because you bring them, you will hear them. And you who keep them by your own selection do not understand how they came into your mind. You who keep them by your own selection don't understand how they came into your mind and what their purpose is. You keep them by your own selection. This is why he said forgiveness is a selective remembering based not on your selection. Because your selection is this. It's the shadow figures. You don't understand how they came into your mind and what their purpose is. They represent the evil that you think was done to you. You bring them with you only that you may return evil for evil, hoping that their witness will enable you to think guiltily of another and not harm yourself. They speak so clearly of the separation that no one not obsessed with keeping separation could hear them. Obsessed with keeping separation. That's why they are heard. That's why a victim perceives victimizers. That's why anyone feeling unfairly treated will find witnesses to unfair treatment ongoingly. They offer you the quote reasons why you should enter into unholy alliances to support the ego's goals and make your relationships the witness to its power. This is the profound knowing that we want it to land, that the busy mind can get still. The mind is busy with this, with the shadow figures. And it can find them anywhere. It will find them everywhere until the mind is changed. This is the depth of this mystical path. The belief that others are the problem, or others have problems. Then we have a problem ourselves. There is nothing wrong with you. This is the message to yourself and to everyone. There is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. So because we bring these shadow figures from the past, we think we are sort of a victim. And this face of innocence that Jesus talks about, is the sense of the self of I am free of sin, but they are guilty. The face of innocence. The ones who bring shadow figures have a face of innocence. In the unholy relationship, it is not the body of the other with which union is attempted, but the bodies of those who are not there. Or even the body of the other, already a severely limited perception of him, is not the central focus as it is, or in entirety. So it seems in special relationship it's the body of the other that is the prime goal, the focus, but it's not even that. It's an attempt to unite with those who are not there, the shadow figures. Not in their mind, in one's own mind. What can be used for fantasies of vengeance, and what can be most readily associated with those on whom vengeance is really sought, is centered on and separated off as being the only parts of value. That sounds murky. So this is the relationships of the world, the relationships in the unconscious mind. But even when the mind starts to become conscious, this is still happening. This is what we need to become aware of. That's why Jesus talks about it. That's why he so gently introduces the lessons of the Course. Nothing I see means anything. With the ego, everything you see means something, something different. And that's the shadows of the past. The representation of beliefs in the mind. You can heal your whole relationship, Margaret, with your husband or with your partner just by going within. You can totally release him from your belief that he is suffering without you, because that's a belief in your mind. The belief that he can have any pain is a belief in your mind. And this beautiful path is very challenging. It is extreme. It's an extreme path of self-responsibility for the whole world, for the whole perception. Jesus has one section in the Course, responsibility for sight. And if we are preoccupied with specialness, we are afraid of awakening, and we use a relationship to block our relationship with God. We use it because of fear of the light, to distract. That's why time, the experience of time, can seem very... Time seems long, you know, like extended, you know, a lifetime, 100 years, or... Because we undo time when we forgive. We don't experience time the same. Time is no longer linear, like a long, tedious experience of waiting for something in the future. It does become a holy instant. You start to live on a whole other plane, in another dimension, you could say. This is metaphorical, because there aren't different dimensions. There's only one. But you will experience the happy dream. It's like a higher dimension. It's like time is not linear. And that's why the journey is actually a journey of going through beliefs. It's not a journey that is linear. It's more like vertical or inward or deep, or I don't know how you want to visualize it, but the journey is literally through removing the layer in the present moment, the layer that is put up as a protection from love in the present moment. Time would not exist if we didn't do it. We didn't block God in the present moment. That's where we have to go. And the story is this little me on the timeline, having a past, maybe sometimes a difficult past, a horrific past, or somewhat good, with a future. You have gone past, now you're here. You think this is the present moment, but it's not. And you're going to go all the way there until you die. And maybe at some point in the future you hope for enlightenment. You work hard enough on yourself. Hopefully before that point of death. That's a sad story, you know. And some people are afraid. I don't really want to live again, so I hope I will do this enlightenment before I die, this lifetime. But even that thought is an invitation to forgive in the present moment. And look at that fear. My past was so horrific, life on earth is so horrific, so I don't want to do it again. I hope for enlightenment at some point here soon. What is the key here? Look at that fear. Take a look at that fear. Maybe fear of the past, fear of, just fear. Then you will see the trick. You will not think this way anymore of you as a little person afraid of life in the world. You will actually feel that the world is your mind. The world, there is no world, it's just a reflection. We work so hard on this self-concept, being good girls and good boys and doing stuff in the world, improving, helping others, making it easier for them, out of fear of looking at our own pain. So we work with them, focus on them. So the Course is very, very much an invitation to a very mystical path. So even, there is one mind, and maybe you don't know, maybe you know it intellectually. And I think I want to give you a helpful tool to always, even if you don't fully believe it, think of it as your mind, always. There are no other minds. Perception is a mirror, not a fact. Not a fact. What is fact? Fact is something real. Perception is a mirror, not a fact. So if it is your mind, what do you have to do? You have to work with your misperceptions, Forgive, forgive, forgive. And forgive again. Breathe forgiveness. Like every breath, practice. I release perception. I question my strong convictions and opinions and conclusions. It's very, very good. It's very, very profound when you realize this is what time is for. We've been lost for a long time here in this world, running around, being an ant in the world, thinking it is about something in the world, building up something, organizing. But when we realize time is for forgiveness, time is for awakening, then we start to save time. And this is why many of you, maybe all of you, feel the meaninglessness of jobs or anything that doesn't involve awakening is dead. And there's an invitation inside to listen to that, to not skip that over, because then you're still going to be an ant. You don't want to skip over that. It's okay to delay, it's okay. No one It's hurt, but you delay, you prolong suffering, you delay joy. So to hide behind the persona, little me, is that fear of coming out as awakener. I learned early on that I could not speak to the images of my past about, I couldn't speak about anything, could not speak about awakening really. I could not speak on their level about things. I needed to pray and ask how to speak to them. Spirit had to speak. I couldn't anymore, because I had decided to not bring any shadow figures anymore. That's why I said about the interpersonal thing. It doesn't work. You can't solve anything interpersonally. Only within, with spirit. And with the mighty companion, of course, you can explore your mind, and it's huge, huge help, you know? That's not what I mean, that you shouldn't. There are different, so that's a different thing than talking to your projection and expecting them to, you know, be someone for you. So here he says, how can the Holy Spirit bring his interpretation of the body as a means of communication into relationships whose only purpose is separation from reality? So you have relationships whose only purpose is separation from reality. Relationships between bodies. Their only purpose is separation from reality. How can the Holy Spirit bring his interpretation of the body as a means of communication into those relationships? What forgiveness is enables him to do so. What forgiveness is enables the Holy Spirit to bring in his interpretation of the body as a means of communication. If all but loving thoughts have been forgotten, what remains is eternal, and the transformed past is made like the present. So this is a true present. Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, no, this is the present. To forgive. The transformed past is made like the present. This is how bodies can become a means of communication rather than a block, rather than what the ego made them for. No longer does the past conflict with now. So if we keep seeing the same problem in another person, we have some past healing to do. Some forgiveness. The past conflicts with the now. Whenever we perceive another as a problem, this is the self-responsibility. Go within. First, you know, fear will say go without, go outside, fix it outside, get frantic, get weird, fix them, change them, or get help. Like this fear of looking within and I need help, I need help, I need help. Help me, help me, help me. No, go on your own, sit. Take a moment first. We get blinded, you know. If we bring the past with us, we will perceive it in the most loving environment. Even you know, like in our community, community is such a great way for healing, because, you know, you want to bring the past and make it comfortable, familiar, but it's alluring. You will start to see your mom and dad and your, you know, siblings, even there, you know, even in the most pure, that will come in if it's not forgiven, if the forgiveness work is not the primary activity, you know, because we bring it with us until it's forgiven. Like course groups in the world, there are so many course groups, and I visited some course groups, and some say they've gone on for like 20 years, and sometimes it's a feeling that it's like an old family or something sitting there conversing about the same things, you know, not much happening. Sometimes, I mean, more often recently I see a very different picture, like freshness. I visited your course group with Daniel, and it's so fresh, you know. It was such a fresh experience of curiosity, wanting to heal and go deeper. But I have met course groups that have been, you know, going on for like 25 years, and they were like scholars. They were scholars, of course. The experience didn't seem to be there. The forgiveness was more like the roles. It was very established roles in the group. Sometimes when someone says, I don't trust you, you know, to me or to a spiritual leader or teacher, you know, the feeling is they wouldn't trust if Jesus himself appeared, you know, because that's what it is. It is Jesus speaking through a pure channel. It is the Christ, it is the Spirit, you know, so it is always our own projection. Like there is this kind of scandal, whatever we can call it, around, you know, certain spiritual teachers, and it's just people's perception. It's the mind, fearful of awakening, projecting on the ones who are actually more awake, you know, because there's so much fear of awakening. So whatever the theme is, whatever the suspicion is, oh, he has too many girlfriends, or he's, you know, he has something behind the scenes. That one is, you know, when there's a pointing finger, look at what the theme is. The fear, often it's this sexual stuff, like projected onto certain spiritual teachers, you know. It's, what does that say about the mind that is projecting? It says something. It's like, look at it. What are your beliefs, you know? And this is, yeah, maybe not particular for anyone here, but it's interesting to look at the themes, you know. And we do project what we are afraid of, what we want to disown. That's why we want to talk about everything, anything. So even here we can dive in and talk about anything. Only the hidden can terrify. Not for what it is, but for its hiddenness. Only the hidden can terrify. The private thoughts are scary, and they do project a world of, yeah, the world. Crazy things, or, you know, it's the world of images, the private thoughts. The private thoughts are not private because of that. They are, you see them. You see them in, you know, in your mind, and there's a perception outside the private thoughts. So we want to uncover them, expose them. And we do, you know, when we bring in the Holy Spirit, we expose them to the Holy Spirit. And this is, you know, this is a place where the Holy Spirit is present. It's, we can lift up anything here and explore it.
So, actually, can I ask two things? First thing is a clarification from yesterday. I asked the question about what should my attitude be, or how should I be thinking? And I don't know whether it's my ego deflecting or whatever, but I asked you a question, and at the end of it I sort of thought, okay, but I didn't hear how I should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what the question was around, when we're listening to each other, what should I be doing, thinking as I sit here? Because I think I asked you, what do you? Anyway.
I watch my mind.
Watch your mind.
Yeah.
And, yeah, can you say some more?
Yeah, and, you know, observe what comes up for you if you interact with somebody.
So listening to the situations or the stories or the experiences?
Well, not really. I just listen to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And then the Holy Spirit tells me, listen to that, or don't listen to that.
Okay. And if I'm not quite as attuned at this point, what should I pray, think? I just watch my mind.
Yeah, help me, Holy Spirit. Yeah. But you can practice, be very open and inviting to emotions, to your emotions, about the situation.
Okay.
That's a very helpful way of starting to be in touch with spirit, to heal it. You know? Because if you have any reaction and you think it's about others, you know, it's not really. Yeah.
So the other thing that's been coming up for me is just some reflection about my own journey, and that I was trying to understand, like, you know, I think I have some issues around trust, or a lot of issues around trust, more than I registered. And I think in my life I wanted to trust God, but I wanted to have all of these things in place, as you said, as you know, I wanted to have the house sorted, and I wanted to have some financial security, and then I can give time to God.
Right.
You know? So, which is sort of what I've done now, is to sort of say, okay, now I've put this time aside. Okay, this is time, God. But you know, the underlying issue is really a lack of trust and a needing to control. So, I suppose that's what I'm sitting with, to try and let go of that lack of trust. For some part of my mind, even over these years, we've thought, you know, I do trust God and I do love God and see Him as present in my life. But really, issues of trust and needing control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a deep journey, and you can only take some gentle baby steps, first, but it's going to pay off. I mean, I'm your witness that, because I did realize I need to put God first. Like, I realized with a big bang, a big boom in my awareness when I started reading the course. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do the education and the job and the career to get financial safety. I'm going to trust God, And it was scary. It was scary first, And it's not like, because I think for me there was also this, even earlier in my life, if I do the right thing for God, God is going to help me, kind of thing. But it's such a deep journey of self-exploration and healing. That's really the path. It's not we do the right thing and God is going to fix everything. No. So if there is something specific that you want to explore about your life, like something that you think maybe, you're ready to let go or simplify in some way, to practice this trust, that
I think there's some issues around, I don't know, because they're all like little strands, not yet joined together, about sense of not being well understood, or being overlooked. And I think that's, old stuff, past stuff, projections, the whole, I don't, and hence the need to control everything myself, look after myself.
So there's some hurt there from the past. Well, when you give your time and your mind over to forgiveness, healing, awakening, like the lessons of the course, that's what it is. That's going to heal everything. That heals the past. That that you don't have to specifically focus on these kind of personal issues. They will be taken care of in this greater process of forgiveness. You don't have to become a confident Margaret, someone who everybody suddenly sees. The Holy Spirit takes care of that. But it is helpful to acknowledge that what you just named it. It's really good. You just said, I often feel forgotten and overlooked.
So that again is the trust issue, that the Holy Spirit's got it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the Holy Spirit is within you. This is about coming to the experience that you are so connected to Spirit. It's not an external God you have to trust. It's not an external Holy Spirit you have to trust. And it's also not a personal Holy Spirit or God. It's not, in Margaret's mind, it's in the mind. There is one mind, and that is not outside of you. The body is outside of it. So it's, the Course talks a lot about the right mind and the wrong mind. And it's a journey to discover the right mind. And guidance is a helpful guideline to start to practice asking for guidance in things. And it may be an experience or a belief that God is external. I'm asking God out there for guidance and what to do. That's okay. It's like that in the beginning, you know. I started asking with everything. It helped me. Jesus says in the Course, you don't have to become extreme with it. I think I wanted to become extreme with it, and so I did that, and it was good for me. I wanted to ask about everything. Because we actually don't act or do anything without the power of God anyway. There is no other power. So when we act, we always act with the power of God, whether we use it with the right mind or the wrong mind. We have been misusing it for eons to shut him out. So yeah, I feel, you're really on a good path here, a good track with the Course. Keep going with it. Read the Course, do the lessons, practice it in your relationships. Thank you. So cool that you found us. You just looked for a retreat and you found...
Yep, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Online. Sorry, I'd never heard of you.
You look for Courseinmiracles retreat in Europe? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, you can follow us on YouTube.
Yeah, I did. I listened to one before I signed up.
Yeah. Because the sessions we have there are a bit like these. Yeah, welcome. You want to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got some fear coming up. Because I've been thinking about the share before Margaret did. And she started, so kind of been rehearsing a bit.
Okay.
But it's about the topic of cults. You brought it up there again. And I noticed the fear come up about that again. It's to do with just people not believing us or something. Like you mentioned monogamy the other day at lunch. And you said we practice that here, and I noticed my reaction was I wanted to look around and see who is the one that's not believing that. But I didn't, but I still had the fear that I bet someone doesn't believe that, or we're being judged or something like that.
Yeah. No.
And it came up with Lena as well when I felt spirit prompts to just to ask Lena, does she want to join with me? And the fears were still kind of present. Even I thought Lena mightn't believe that it was genuine. So I noticed just fears around just not being believed or being judged or some sort of suspicion put on me.
Yeah.
Or us as a community.
So these...
So yeah, I just want to raise all that up.
So these are the themes for forgiveness then. Anything that you feel like, okay, what do they think? Mm-hmm. These are your signals. Okay, here's something to look at.
In myself.
In yourself.
Obviously, yeah. Because
it's a projection when you start to look around and think, oh, who is that? Who thinks that?
But I know we're genuine.
Yeah, so that's
the fear.
That's beautiful. That's your right mind. The other part is your wrong mind, and that's the part that needs healing. It's like a split. You don't always believe that.
Okay.
There is a darkness. There is the unconscious mind is still like afraid in some way.
Yeah, I think I understand you. And that just gets projected in various ways.
Yeah, that's what Jesus says, you people the world with your thoughts. Like the representations of those thoughts. Like if you look around and find one, that one is probably suspicious about this topic, then you have people, that's your thought to forgive, to work.
And I probably would have seen that if I had looked, because it was in my mind already.
Yeah.
I would have saw one witness that looked a little...
Yeah.
But it probably would have been just a neutral look, but I would have projected something else.
That's how powerful the mind is. Yeah.
I've noticed that tendency. Different
Yeah.
things. When something is coming up, there's a tendency
Yeah.
to
I
see
think
it
when you have
in someone else.
when you have unhealed stuff, like, so I shared a little bit about my own, you know, there was some like sexual abuse in my past, and I remember interpreting, you know, very fearfully these kinds of topics. Like if someone said, well, you know, if I would hear somebody invite a woman to lay down with them, I would think, what's that? What's the motive for that? You know, I would, in the past. So I think, yeah, I felt prompted to name that, to say, you know, this is, yeah, because in the past I remembered this kind of like big fear of secret sexual acts, you know, things like that. And I think I know, or I've seen that the ego uses sexuality. The ego has misused it so much. It is an area in the psyche, in the unhealed mind, that is often something we can talk about and explore, because it's a lot of guilt, fear, and shame projected into that topic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Feels clear now.
Yeah, and that's why we said too yesterday, make sure Lucy is on board. Lucy is aware that there was that invitation to hold Lena, and you know, and maybe the three of you would sit down and even talk if there were thoughts about how that feels for all of you, and the thoughts are. But Lena, you didn't want to lay down anymore, and you didn't want to talk about
Well, we
it.
did talk,
You did talk, yeah.
but maybe not the way. I don't know.
You felt there was maybe more to talk about.
No, but I do recognize what Matthew said, that I had the feeling that someone was disapproving or judging or wondering what was going on, and I think I got that reflected, not in a verbal way, but in
Someone's eyes. Do you are you open to talking to that person? Do you want to, like, shall we clear that here? Because that could be really helpful.
Yeah, I think it was Peter.
You thought he was like judging it, or?
No, he just looked, I just felt he kept looking at me very strangely after. And I felt like, well, did I do something wrong? And I had the thought, well, maybe he thinks that we did something that was inappropriate.
Shall we ask him?
I wasn't even thinking about it. Totally not.
Yeah, so this is such a good example of seeing, you know, you see what you believe, perceive what you think. Yeah. That's why it's so helpful to talk about it openly. Because you can save yourself many, many years just by hearing that witness. I didn't think that at all, you know.
That is my fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
What people might believe.
Yeah, and it's what you believe. Was there some shame maybe, or some feeling that would not be okay.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it at the time, but it obviously must have come up after.
Yeah, that's how it is. That the mind, part of the mind is unconscious, and then it can come up later. Any thoughts, Lucy?
I just think it's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Feel very
Yeah.
relaxed about. You understand that it is
Yeah.
can be so helpful.
So helpful.
Yeah. It's a symbol of care, nourishment, to be held, to be close to someone that you trust, can help you relax and open your mind to go deeper. Yeah, and you had such clear prompts twice to invite Lena. How does everyone feel about this?
It's just about sexuality in and of itself. I think it's not a specific situation. It's just bringing something up for me. I think Peter mentioned it yesterday or something, that around sexuality, around having sex, which I for a while just really don't feel like. And I'm aware that there's a lot of guilt there. I feel wrong, and I think this idea about just laying together, being held, I think I kind of avoid that with Peter, because I'm afraid. I have some belief that it will go somewhere. But not just with Peter, I think I avoid it, period. I think I have a deep longing there, which feels like I've been there all my life, just to be held.
Longing to just be held. Yeah.
And doesn't it, without it being anything sexual.
Yeah. Have you asked Peter if it could be like that?
Not lately, but we have talked about it earlier on. I think I have said, asked sometimes if you could just hold me. But it feels difficult for me to ask about that. There's something about feeling needy that's wrong. And something about disappointing him. Like,
Well, I think...
And it's not just with Pete. I can see that have been in any relationship I've been in. After a while, I just... It's something about intimacy.
Maybe he wants to be held sometimes too, I was going to say. Maybe it's a possibility that he also want to be held without it being sexual. I mean, maybe that is a whole other dimension to this.
I experience when the subject is up, if Peter just asks, and sometimes it feels like he's frustrated or something. I'm aware that I kind of go numb. It's like nothing comes out of my mouth. I can't say anything. I want to avoid it.
Yeah.
It feels good to just bring this up, because I think I wasn't even honest with myself about this. That's a weird idea about, and it's something to do with the body, like not being in control of it, or like, no, like I can't say no, or it's wrong to say no or something.
Do you believe that? I mean, this is on an emotional level, but do you know that it's not wrong to say no? Maybe this is an area for you to practice, to really allow yourself to say no and not feel guilty for that.
Yeah. I think there comes a lot of guilt with no's for me.
Yeah, we practice quite a lot, because sometimes Barret is more sexual than I am, and I say no, and he's fine.
I probably believe Peter's not fine with that.
Yeah, but can you trust then that whatever that is for him, it's for him to work through?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there have been times when Barret hasn't felt completely fine, you know, and he needs to allow some emotions, and you know, and that's fine with me.
So am I fine with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Feel finished? She didn't talk about you. No, I'm kidding. Peter and Peter.
Peter, yeah. It always touches me, these things, you know, there's some old pain or fears touched in me when it's about me not trusting my father, I think. So I don't trust male energy. And so I always had this strong need to protect women, that they felt safe.
Lena saw your eyes. You didn't, I just, it's one mind.
It's all together, yeah. So I just want to express how it always touches me immediately, and there's a deep wound in me, I think, there. And it's about the male energy not being safe. That's my feeling. So I always had this urge to protect women and to let them know you're safe. But it's also painful in a way, and that I don't really understand, but except that I can feel the pain or of the women and safe feeling there. I don't know why it touches me so deeply.
You know, our toilet broke. So toilet in dreams is a symbol of sexuality. Going to the toilet in dreams, you know, if anyone recognizes it, but dreams where you like have to pee in public, or there is no door, or something with the toilet, you know, it's usually about
all bodily functions.
Yeah, it's about sexuality, and the bodily functions are also sexual organs. You know, it's related. And before the retreat started on Thursday, I walked down with Rob to show him where to turn on the drain for the pool, and he mentioned the word toilet, and Spirit was like telling me this symbol of sexuality and toilet, And I was guided to ask you to see if you could help fix our main toilet that we were going to use for all of you for the retreat sessions, the one available in the area. And you actually not only didn't fix it, you actually broke it. You actually broke the toilet, and you don't know this yet because, but you can't lift the lid without first manage them.
Yeah.
So it broke.
Yeah.
So it didn't work at all afterwards. And I felt this is about, about a sexual block in you. This is showing that. And so it just because you brought this up, I can confirm that, So maybe this is something to just be open to more healing, this area, that you feel to protect women. Why is that? What is there? Why is that? What is there? And you probably know some things consciously, but there's probably more emotionally, and this is super connected to your, there is no other issue, this is all one thing, like you said. This block to joining that you feel sometimes, it's this. Maybe you've been really hurt, maybe something, but I think this is a journey. This is something to be open for healing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I find something opens a bit more in me at this point.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to? Okay. There were some deep topics. Maybe there are more thoughts. Maybe there are more to share. Yeah. The weird things that happen when we incarnate on planet Earth. It's very weird, and with the male-female, the energy, like you said, the male energy is like penetrating energy, and the female energy, like sometimes being afraid of that. Yeah, I think it's just aspects of the mind. We can talk more about it. We don't, we can talk more about it, or we don't have to talk about it. It's just, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about, the specifics here in this world that we have been encountering, And if it's been hurt or pain, or, yes, we should talk about it. From a higher perspective, there is nothing that we can't talk about, and there is nothing that is truly harmful. We were never hurt in truth, But in this world, there was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of attack and abuse, misuse. In different ways.
I just want to share that this not trusting male energy sort of resonates with me. I don't think I would trust myself. And I think that's got to do with this speaking about spontaneity.
spontaneity.
Yeah. I think, you know, I don't trust that I will always act from love. And that's from when I was very little and fighting with my brother, I think. Because we had a lot of fun, but we could always, I could be mean to it was my little brother. I could also be mean to him. You know? So,
There's something there about that you haven't forgiven yet.
yeah, probably. I've had things that I asked forgiveness.
Yeah, stay with the feeling here, Jan.
Yeah. Okay.
Something
Yeah,
about
I can't remember any specific details, but I mean, I think, you know that I like didn't love him. Like, yeah. No.
You know you didn't love him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we were often. I was often alone with him, so like it was not that he was just could not communicate with him.
So maybe stay again with the feeling too.
Yeah, so I didn't love him. Why? He was like just this little kid sitting there playing on his own, and I wanted to, like, you know, run and play and do crazy things. And I had no one else. Yeah. So I guess that's why I didn't like him. And of course, but I think he was the one that in my mind, that's the way it should have been, you know. I should have been. To be loved, you know. Sitting there playing by myself.
And you had to look after him, so he stopped you from living. You wanted to live, you wanted to play, but you had to look after him.
No, I didn't have to look after him. It was just that we had no other. We moved. You know, we were living. We moved from a place there was mates to a place where there was no one else. I think. Yeah. So I think there was like guilt for not loving him in that sense.
Yeah, and as Jan, as a person, you could never love. You never loved as Jan. Jan never loved.
Oh.
And you don't have to, so this guilt, you couldn't love. Like any love there ever is or was is God's love. So the guilt is what needs to be allowed to be seen. Because it feels like you have carried it, and you carry it somehow. And you also say you don't trust male energy. Do you mean like the expressive love, or what do you mean when you say?
No, I mean, if I could be mean to him, like hit him, you know, if I got angry, how to cope with that? Of course, that I've yeah, maybe that's why you said I was cautious. You know, of course, I need to be responsible for my own feelings. I need to really, take care of them because I don't want to be destructive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But maybe so can you forgive yourself there? You did your best? Even then?
It's still this, well, yeah.
Yeah. I have a similar story. I was 2 years old. I wanted to kill my 1-year-old sister with poisonous leaves that I fed her, because she took all the love. She was more loved, I thought at that stage, So I think, those, it's this, attack that comes with the deceived mind, the separated mind, you have those experiences of hatred. They took the love away, or he is stopping you from being who you want to be, or, but it is all distorted. But it's all just part of a dream, of the script. What bodies do has nothing to do with who you are, and you're just here to forgive all these feelings, all these inhibitions, or whatever it led to for you, like that you're cautious or careful.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would see you as a threat, or see you as we need to be careful around him because he could just slap us or something. This is what you thought when you were younger, but
yeah, no, but yeah.
But that is like kind of been stuck in you.
Yeah, I think it's stuck in me, and that's why I this being cautiousness.
Maybe you can let that go now and start to allow yourself.
Yeah.
Be expressive. Allow yourself to be spontaneous. I'm sure you'll get.
I would be much louder than him, I would take up a lot of space.
You would be louder.
Yeah, louder and take up a lot of space.
Okay. Yeah, let the Holy Spirit use it.
And that's what.
So you should.
Then I'm not loved. I think. And I would get that back.
Well, I mean, this is just a clearing of the distorted way of expressing, of being spontaneous, expressive. You are a communication device, and you need to allow it to be used. If it's loud, if it's soft, if it's however it looks, If you let the ego use it, you would repeat this. You would see witnesses that you are disturbing, or that you would not be allowed, or but let the Spirit use the communication device, and this is just gonna clear. You're not gonna. You don't have to be cautious. You don't have to be cautious. You can lay that aside. Yeah, you're done with it. You're ready.
I know about it, but I'm not ready.
But it will. You will feel it. I think you want to.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm sort of trying with baby steps, but I'm not confident.
But that too can grow, the confidence. You take the baby steps. Yeah, you're not what you think you are.
Now I've had some experience also with that, more like really, really guided. That I can't make up a way to explain it away,
And you'll have more and more of those.
I've had a lot the last year. A lot.
I think you're going to have even more this year. Coming.
I don't know where. Right now, I don't know where to go. I don't know at all, and so I just have to trust.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is what you need.
Yeah, I guess.
And then you're very aware of that pattern of being cautious. So just allow yourself to not obey it when you see it. You see that cautiousness wanting to take over, Just allow yourself to say, no, I'm going to test this other way now. I'm going to experiment with the other way. I'm a little afraid that I'm going to be wronged something, but I'm going to try. Give yourself that gift of trying, of experimenting with really following your heart.
Yeah, that's what I really want.
Yeah.
I feel like, I've taken the long journey here, and but I don't trust it yet fully. Yeah. I've seen that.
You have seen that?
I've seen that.
Yeah, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a prayer to, the Holy Spirit is really taking your prayer. It's with you now. And someone shares and we have this beautiful, deep experience together. That's what everyone can do. We can just conclude it by releasing it to the Holy Spirit, It's such a powerful intention. Yeah. We are all part of this. We are all in one intent.